Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trophy Gold, the Death Ziggurat. This is session. This is the third and final session of what was originally going to be a 4-session series. We did have to cancel one session, so hopefully we're going to be able to wrap it up tonight. My name is Mike. I will be the GM for this little game. My pronouns are he/him. Why don't we do some quick introductions for our returning players? Let's go clockwise around as I see it on my Zoom chat. So Tim, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Tim. I use he/him pronouns, and I am going to be playing the character Ratung, who is a sort of a failed sorcerer's apprentice.
Very cool. And Josh?
All right, I'm Josh. I am playing the character Kel, and he is a smith and a reformed thug, and is all about trying to rebuild the temple, but now he's getting all corrupted, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, that's right. I've forgotten. You were corrupted by the demon. We'll see what happens. And Blake, would you introduce yourself?
G'day, I'm Blake he/him playing Neven he/him, former rat catcher and lockpick / treasure hunter. And I recently picked up a stag kind of antlered sort of helmet from these cultist dudes, so we're all looking pretty fearsome.
So that would explain your change of character portrait then, I guess.
You're muted, Mike.
Let me pull up my stick note that has our lines and veils on it. Speaking of lines and veils, I just want to do a really brief overview of our safety tools, which are the same ones that have been in play for a while. We've got 3 tools in play. We're going to be using Open Door, which means anyone can come and go as they please. Anyone can call a break at any time. We're using the X card, if anything, which means if anything happens in the game that makes you uncomfortable, say the phrase X card, make an X symbol, and we will pause the game. Let us know what about the game is making you uncomfortable. We'll pause, we'll rewind, and we'll replay the scene without whatever it is that was that we didn't want to deal with. And finally, we're using lines and veils. These are a list of subjects that we are calling out ahead of time. Lines are things that are simply not going to happen in the game. Veils are something that we can acknowledge happen in the world, but they pretty much won't happen. But forget the pretty much. They won't happen on camera, and they will not happen to any of the player characters. Any questions on my abbreviated overview of safety tools? Awesome. So yeah, we are recording. I'll get your permission at the end of the session to see if it's okay to post this on my YouTube channel, and also let them know, let the Gauntlet know about it so they can put it on the video roundup. Okay, so Tim wasn't with us last week, so I guess we'll do a quick review of where we are. So the treasure hunters have gone into they've gone into the frozen Northlands at the request of the monks of Sister Pharasma, who, among other things, is also a goddess of prophecy. And these monks had read signs and seen portents that a demon will be. Well, just let me reread the intro. Find the Ziggurat and stop the demon from laying waste to our world before the true time comes. So you follow the map. There's this basically this giant crater that's in the earth in the frozen north. It's cold. It's winter. You made your way down into this valley. Some On the edge, before you descended, you encountered a group of some kind of weird death cultists, and Neven pushed one off a cliff. You descended to the cliff. You descended the cliff into the valley below. You encountered you then went to explore the ruins, because there were like ruins all throughout the flat bottom of this depression. In the ruins, you encountered a weird kind of like half vampire, like this like vampire ghost thing, who called himself Sarku. And Sarku claimed to know Sarku claimed to know a lot about the demon that you were hunting, and its name is Akun, and she is Akun the Destroyer. He claimed to have once been her most trusted advisor, but they had a falling out, and she cursed him with his current existence, an existence he loathes, and basically gave you some information on what to do, on basically how to get to Akun, and he also gave you like one of her secrets on how best to destroy her, which was when you go to the Ziggurat, which is not in this realm, it's in a different realm of existence called the Death Realm. So first of all, you have to figure out how to get there. And he said that in chambers below the Ziggurat is the heart of Akun. And if you destroy the heart of Akun, you will be able to, that will slay Akun herself. However, if you fight her straight up without her heart being destroyed, she won't die for real. She'll respawn. She'll basically she will reappear next to her heart, and will probably not take too kindly at having been slain. To that end, he also said that her foul rot priests were wandering through here, and there was an encampment of them nearby, and that the rot priests each carried an amulet that allowed passage into the Death Realm through a gate in the necropolis. And that's more or less what he told you. So the adventurers went back to basically you went back to this encampment of the rot priests. Oh, and Ratung stayed behind, because the other thing that Sarku said was he had been around since the days of Old Kaldor, and had in the past met with and had spoken with the old rulers of Old Kaldor, which sparked Ratung's attention. So Ratung stayed behind to continue to converse with Sarku, while the rest of the group went off to deal with the rot priests, which they did. It was a pitched battle, but yeah, the party killed all the rot priests. Got a bunch of treasure. Got several of these amulets that Sarku claims will allow passage into the Death Realm. Then they returned to the ruins to continue to explore, to try to find their way to the necropolis. And Sarku was a little unclear as to exactly how to get there, other than it was like to the north. He basically said, "Oh, and there's this slowly spinning gray and purple tornado cyclone thing," and he said basically walk toward that, and you will eventually find the gate to the Death Realm.
In the ruins, we found some sort of observation chamber with like a prophecy in the sky.
That's where we left. I'm going to retcon and say that when you returned to start searching through the ruins, I'm going to say you swung by Sarku's lair and picked up Ratung.
Yep.
So while you were going through the the ruins, you did find it was kind of like a cross between perhaps an observatory or a chapel of some sort. It was a round building with a spherical dome. It's one of the few buildings that seems more or less fully intact that you've seen through these ruins. And you went inside to explore it. So inside the ruins, this, by the way, is its own set. This set is called the Spiral Chapel. The set goal is to recover the spiral crown and learn its secrets. And I guess we'll pick up here. So I'm just going to review what I'm just going to kind of review where we were last time, because I honestly don't remember a lot of the specifics. I know we got here and I kind of like gave you the lay of the land, and then we kind of ran out of time. So this round,
I was just thinking, as players, do we want to spend a token each and sort of fast forward this bit in order to, because we've only got this session to go, sort of thing?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. As
that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, I've got a token to throw in. I'm on board.
So yeah, we can just do a montage of us searching around, looking at all the stuff in that area, and then.
Okay. So yeah, if you've got 3 tokens to spend, I'll let you figure out who's spending what. But as long as a total of 3 tokens are spent, we will solve the set. Are you each going to pitch in one, or?
I've got
one each.
Total.
No, one each is fine. We're good. You might need them, Kel.
I see you're at rune 5, so that's probably another good reason to spend some tokens. So
that is true. That is true. Okay, so you're searching. So yeah, I'll just do a quick montage. So searching through here, the dome is painted with like constellation. It's like it's got like a dark blue background with gold stars in constellations, but the constellations are unfamiliar. And right at the zenith is this like gold swirling galaxy. It's not actually swirling. It's painted to look like it's swirling. And it's just a large round room. It doesn't look like there were ever any benches or anything, but painted around the interior were highly detailed murals. Most of the murals have deteriorated over the ages, but there's 2 sections that still had. There were 2 sections that still had quite a bit of detail. One of the sections showed some kind of a priest wearing robes, who was also wearing a crown. It's like kind of like spiral shaped crown, like silver crown. And it was, he was like gesturing toward this black, like female maybe-ish demon that had like, big antlers, and like where her chest should be was this like open maw, like kind of a second mouth, very much like the images of the demon Akun that you found in the Rot Priest's lair, and for that matter, the Rot Priests themselves had a similar inhuman feature. So he's making this gesture, and there's rays that are coming out of the crown that he's wearing that strike at the demon, and the demon is like has her hands up defensively. Yeah, since you spent the tokens, I'm just going to tell you what you find. So poking around, like the pedestal, like the painting of the pedestal that the priest is standing on, when you look at it, you realize it's actually a pressure plate. You push it in, and it slides to the side, and inside is this bronze disc. It's like twice. It's about the size of it's. It's like a hockey puck, but like twice the size. You also notice that directly underneath that spiral galaxy on the ceiling, in the very center of the floor of this chamber, was a depression that is exactly the same size and shape as this disc. One of you places the disc inside the depression, and there's this kind of like magical like and pedestal. So the pedestal like rises up. It's basically there's like a post or something under it, and it rises up, and on a at this point pretty deteriorated what was probably fine velvet cushion is a silver crown with that's like made in the shape of a spiral. Looks identical to the one that the priest was wearing. And I'm just going to say that there's some inscriptions on the pedestal, which will basically tell you the spiral crown's secrets. This was an ancient order of priests that worship the stars. That has pretty much died out at this point. And that this crown was fashioned as a weapon against the demon Akun the Destroyer. Wearing the crown channels vast cosmic power through the owner or through the wearer, and when worn in the presence of the demon Akun, will weaken her.
You're the sorcerer apprentice type person, Ratung. You want to whack that on?
Oh, and I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you, Ratung, because you know these runes and whatnot. Wearing the crown is dangerous because it is channeling cosmic power through you. And there's a special rule for wearing the crown.
He's calling you chicken, Tim. You can't let him talk to you like that. You got to put it on.
I mean, I was thinking we should put it on Neven's antlers.
Well, I think Ratung really cannot resist the promise of some sort of forbidden knowledge, right? And so I think it would be perfectly in character. And well, Ratung, as we know, is also quite foolish. He's a coward, but he's also foolish. So I think I would put it on for sure.
Okay.
Especially if my friends are just offering it to me, like, "Hey, you're a magical guy, put this on." I'd be like, "Oh, sure, yeah."
Okay.
Yeah, I almost feel like Kel, if he touched it, would probably have some kind of bad reaction to it.
And I'm just hopping into the dice roll. I just remembered, like, oh dear, GCOG is on. I hope no one else is using the trophy game room, but looks like nobody is at the moment. So cool. Okay, so you put on the crown. Everyone else sees when Ratung puts on the crown like immediately starts glowing, as do all of the stars, and as do all of the stars in the ceiling. Each of the stars in the ceiling, and especially the galaxy, like suddenly there's these like magical golden beams that shine down and like intersect on the crown, and the crown starts like radiating and almost crackling with some kind of magical energy. Ratung seems to have like a faraway look in his eyes, as if he's suddenly in a bit of a trance. Ratung, your senses at once sharpen, but at the same time things kind of like fade away, in that you can now like see into other realms. You can see into the cosmos. You can see the ley lines in the earth. But mostly what you see when you look in the direction of that like tornado thing, I mean, you're indoors, but you look in that direction and you can see it as if you're looking right through the walls. That this, you just know that this is, that tornado thing is like pulling magical, specifically like life energy from the real world and is channeling it into the death realm. And you know that this life energy is that Akun herself is is drawing this energy and is using this energy and is going to use that to transcend in and be able to come into the real world for real. And your crown, just, you had this insatiable urge to go there. Oh, and you also look at Kel, and you can just see that there is a darkness in Kel that, there's almost a tendril that goes from Kel, like stretching across the plane, like into this like swirling energy. So Kel is somehow directly connected to the demon Akun. At the same time, you're feeling this power surge through your body. And even though this is a trophy gold, I'm going to ask you to make a ruin roll.
So I think as like the stars are lighting up and whatnot, we're seeing all this happen. Kel is like taking notes, like, oh, this would be good for the temple repairs, like something like this.
All right. Yes, my ruin is currently less than 5, so I will take a ruin.
Yeah, your ruin goes up. So here's how the crown roll works. When wearing the spiral crown, roll a dark die. If the die, and it's a ruin roll. Oh, I'm sorry. If the die is equal to or lower than your current ruin, you may choose to remove the crown. If higher than your current ruin, your ruin increases, and you must keep it on for another round. The other thing about is that that like as this happens and you feel this power channel through you, you then feel a beam. Like, the rest of you don't see this, but Ratung, you see it. This beam is now shooting from you into this, like, into and through this tornado, and like maybe a second or two later, everyone just hears this like distant, like unnatural, inhuman scream of agony. You know that wearing this crown is going to harm the demon Akun. It's probably going to be more effective the closer you are to her.
I'm going to say, Ratung, does this help us get, because we've got to get to the other realm to fight the demon? Does this let you see where it is, or sort of impart knowledge of how to get there or something?
She's inside that tornado. We need to go there right now.
Yeah, didn't that weirdo already tell us that she was in there?
Okay, does it give us any hints of how we get there?
I'm just going to say that now that you've like wearing the crown, you've got like Ratung. I'm just going to say that you can just, again, looking in the distance, you can see where there's a gateway from the land of the living into the land of the dead. So you basically know where it is.
Yeah, so I'll just say something like, I see everything. We have no time to waste. Let's go.
Do you take off the crown?
If I'm allowed to take off the crown now, yeah. Yep.
The way I originally wrote it, I'm gonna it was no, but I'm gonna say for plot reason I think that was written assuming that you were putting it on in the presence of the demon Akun. Since she's not there, I'm going to say that you can go ahead and you can go and take it off for now. This
maybe
has
he can take it off, but he can't. He doesn't want to get rid of it. He wants to keep it close, sort of thing. He's still emotionally attached to it, but
that would entirely make sense.
Great. Well,
as a piece of treasure, the spiral crown is worth 6 gold.
Nice.
To the
red collector. I don't know about you guys, but
to the red collector at least. But this is a magic item. It's a very specific purpose use magic item, but it is indeed a magic item. Okay. Yes, you have found this. You have retrieved the spiral crown and have learned its secrets. One other thing, Ratung, one thing about about wearing the spiral crown and using it to hurt a coon, you just know. You can tell that she is aware of you. So I'm going to ask you to please take the condition a coon is aware of you. So what is your what is your plan at this point? Blake, what are you doing? Or Neven, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was just asking Matuna sort of he knows how to get up there or get there in some way. Because outside of that, we're ready to go as far as I know.
Is a general consensus you're going to continue to head across and try to get to the gate that Ratung? I mean, even though you've taken off the crown, you no longer can see that, but you still remember like where it is and what direction to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have taken off the crown and then just started like sprinting as fast as my knobby little legs could carry me, out the door and toward the gate that I saw when I was wearing the crown.
Fantastic.
Well, I guess we're going that way.
Okay. Okay, so you head off in that direction. Anyone doing anything on your trip, or you're just pretty much just making a beeline?
I mean, I think I'm just sort of relentlessly focused on exactly where I'm going because I feel like even though I'm not wearing the crown, right? You said it kind of compelled me to want to go there. So I think
indeed, while you were wearing the crown, you felt this compulsion. The compulsion's still kind of there, but it's not nearly so strong as when you were wearing it.
Yeah, I think being the sort of weak-willed person that Ratung is, I'm just still probably under the influence of the crown, just beelining right for the spot.
Okay. Yeah, it takes you traverse overland through the ruins. You're not it sounds like you're not stopping to do any exploring on the way, which is fine. You make your way across. The ruins give way to a series of tombs and mausoleums. And in the distance, you see these tombs are surrounding this like large, wide, deep pit. And the pit is shrouded in the pit itself, like into the, maybe 10 or 15 feet down into the pit. The bottom is shrouded with fog. The sound as you approach the pit, the sounds of moaning and shuffling come from within the pit. North of here, you've gotten very close to that tornado. It's at this point it's maybe maybe only half a mile, quarter mile away. But standing as you approach, and you saw this a while away. Standing on the edge, and this pit is like almost perfectly square, and it's just it's like scores of yards across. Standing on the edge of this square pit, just like right on the very edge, like into the rock, is this bronze gate. It's like this like archway. It doesn't have any. It's a gateway. It's not exactly. It doesn't have like doors or anything, but it's just like kind of like just like this open archway, kind of like an arbor, but it's made of bronze. And you can see from here that it's you can even tell from a distance that it's etched with all kinds of like weird sigils. And Ratung, there's probably just a little bit of the power of the crown. You know that this is that walking through this gate will bring you to the death realm. Although this gate is like right on the very edge of a cliff. So if you were to walk through, if you're going to take a step through that you can't really take a step through this gate, because if you did, you'd fall into the pit.
I mean, I think at this point, maybe cooler head would prevail a little bit. And you said there were kind of like tombs and mausoleums about. Maybe I'll just kind of, I don't know. If I was still in the lead, I think I would kind of like run up kind of behind one and catch my breath.
Kind of like sneak your way, sneak your way over by like.
Yeah, or at least kind of wait for the others and then kind of like look around the corner, try and kind of see if there's more to this place than meets the eye. Since it seems kind of weird that the gate would lead to nowhere.
Got it. I will say one other thing is like while you're sneaking around, they apparently haven't seen you yet, but there is some kind of like now as you're getting close, you see like some movement near it, and you catch a glimpse of some kind of creature. It's on all fours. It looks like it looks partially skeletal. Get a description. Doesn't seem to have noticed you, but there's a creature that seems to be like prowling around the vicinity of the gate. The description from the original book is a chaotic mass of horns and bones with a circular mouth filled with teeth instead of a face. And there's one of these things that's prowling around. I'm going to say there's kind of like an open area, almost like a courtyard around the gate itself by the edge. But you can sneak up behind like these crypts and mausoleums, and you can probably get about, you're probably about maybe 20 yards.
I'm wondering if I can, like, the gate's activated by blood or something. So if I just sort of nick my hand and touch the gate, see if that activates it. And...
Well, I will remind you that you have you were told by Sarku that the amulets that you took from the rot priests were the keys into the Death Realm, and Ratung from what the crown showed you that this gate is a way into the Death Realm.
Oh, well, yeah, we've all got the amulets because we killed 5 of the buggers, so yeah, we've got enough. I guess we'll look for something on the gate in case it's like literally a key you have to turn or something.
Okay. So what's your plan? There is this like, and now that you're hiding there, there is this beast that's prowling around. It has not seemed to caught scent of you yet.
I guess if the others are going to try and see, what it takes to open this gate or whatever, Kel will kind of, stand guard and keep a lookout. So if that thing does notice.
Okay, so you're standing guard. You're kind of looking around. I think that's a hunt roll. Let me pull the game room down. So for the hunt roll, take 1 light die for asking questions about the world and like being on lookout, looking for threats. That's definitely asking questions about the world. Do you have a skill or piece of equipment or a way to exploit the environment that would help you here?
I've got a spyglass.
Oh yeah, I can see how that would totally help. Using that to look for threats.
Yep.
So why don't you do a hunt 2? Nice. Take a token. I'm just going to say that the terrible thing that you see looking through the spyglass is now that you're close and you're looking at it, you saw some stuff on the ground near the gate, and there's definitely a whole lot of bones, and they sure look like human bones that are littering the ground near the gate.
These like old bleached bones, or are they like fresh?
No, they look kind of fresh, and they look like they've been gnawed extensively.
Delightful.
Like, perhaps by this beast that's prowling around.
I have the idea of I had fashioned a scarecrow before when we first met Sarku, but I didn't end up animating it. I was wondering I could animate the scarecrow and send it at this thing to distract it, while and then if Kel is kind of keeping watch over our position, and Neven runs up and tries to figure out how to activate the key.
I got a message, Dad.
I like it. That sounds awesome. So yeah, if you want to do the scarecrow ritual. Oop. And Tim has to be a dad for a minute.
Sorry, yep, I had to have a sip of the pretend soup that my daughter made. Sorry. Yeah, very good.
I remember those days. My my daughter my daughter is taking a bunch of her friends. My daughter's birthday was earlier this week, and she's taking a bunch of her friends out to a bar to celebrate. So anyway,
different phase of life for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so is that okay with you guys if I use that ritual? Like, do we agree on that as a plan? Okay, cool. I'm trying to remember. That's a risk roll, right, Mike?
That is indeed going to be a risk roll. So it's you clearly have. I mean, you're the sorcerer, so you know rituals, so you get a light die for that. You must take a dark die because it's a ritual. And finally, you need to establish the stakes to do this. So what could go? So this is kind of like to the table. What could go wrong with this? I'm
thinking Ratung's scent is all over the scarecrow, so this beast is just going to follow the scent straight back to Ratung.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm worried about. Is just one way or another. It either just like rips the scarecrow apart and then is just like on top of us before, right? So it's not really a distraction, or it somehow ignores the scarecrow and goes right for me. That's exactly what I was thinking. So
got it. Yeah, the other possible consequence I was thinking of was, you animate the ritual just fine, but you mess up targeting, and the scarecrow actually fights another party member by mistake.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Dibs on me. Bring it on.
Yeah, maybe if I roll really poorly, I could definitely see that happening.
So I think those are some of the possible consequences. Ultimately, if this doesn't go so well, ultimately I make the call, but I'll be using these. I'll be using these as suggestions, or possibly for devil's. Let's see, devil's bargains. To get one more light die. Let's see. No matter what, that's not so great. No matter what, like summoning the scarecrow and sending it at the like the act of like creating this scarecrow ritual attracts the attention of a rot priest that's nearby that you haven't encountered yet. That is a bargain on the table. Anyone else have one to offer?
I'm just he's actually got a condition construct in the tea. Does that override in telling the scarecrow to go? Or
I'm gonna say not necessarily. I think that was perhaps not necessarily the ones that you create, but ones that other people created.
I guess I'll offer you creating this thing. Means a coon gets to create something too, whether they summon a creature or whether they create a construct or something.
So doing this attracts so this ritual is going to attract a coon's attention.
Yeah, so it's like you spend your initiative creating something, she spends her initiative creating something.
Okay.
Or summoning something.
It's pretty cool. Have any ideas, Josh?
I don't really have one at the moment.
Yeah, I think I like the one that Blake said. Well, I mean, I like both, but I think I'm going to go with the one that Blake said. And the reason why is, so Mike, you gave me the condition like a coon is aware of me. So I like the idea of like I'm using this ritual, and then like a coon also sort of like, because I don't know, she's somehow aware of my actions, and then the magic kind of channels through her, and she creates something too.
Okay. Okay, that sounds awesome. Okay, I think it's time to actually do the roll. So let's do a risk 2-1. Okay, so that is that. So that is a success with a complication. So the ritual. So the ritual is going to work. You're going to send it after this beast. The complication. I think the complication is. I think the complication here is going to be that the beast is going to very quickly overpower this scarecrow. Your scarecrow is made of, your scarecrow is made of straw and old clothes, and this creature is made of bones, teeth, and horns. It's going to basically so the complication is it's going to work. It's going to be but it's only going to be a distraction. If you would like to add a dark die and re-roll and hope for a 6, you may certainly do that.
I think I better not press my luck. Let's go with this, and maybe it'll give us enough time to get through.
Okay, you send your scarecrow, and it goes and it engages the beast, and they fight. And while they're fighting, so go ahead and tell us. So this is your ritual. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what this looks like?
Yeah, I think sort of as I complete the ritual, you kind of see my hair grows a little bit longer and straighter and lighter. I think every time I cast it, my hair becomes a little more straw-like. And the scarecrow just kind of lurches up and kind of with its awkward, jerky gait, dashes out towards the bone creature. And I think, as you pointed out, Mike, very quickly, I think the bone creature is just on top of it and is just laying into it. And you see just, tattered rags and bits of straw and dried grass and pine needles just kind of flying up in the air. And so I think that's kind of how it begins. So I guess this is our moment to dash toward the gate and try and figure out how it works.
I was just gonna say this is you've got you've distracted this thing for somewhere for 30 seconds to a minute, so you've got time to get to the gate without having to deal with this beast. So what is your plan?
I guess maybe we should all run toward the gate if we just have a short time for us all to get through. We probably don't want to split up. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that seems like the best idea to me.
Yeah, run over. You try and use the amulet if it's some sort of key or something.
Okay, you're all at. Okay, yeah, you're all at the gate. The beast is still like struggling with the scarecrow, but it looks like the scarecrow is not going to be much of an impediment for this beast for very much longer. What do you do?
I'll keep, kind of like I was doing before, where I'm waiting for the others to figure it out and watching our backs.
Okay, so you're basically guarding.
Try using the amulet as if it's some sort of key. I mean, if that doesn't work, I'm just going to cut my hand and stick it on there.
Okay, like how are you trying to use it as a key?
If
Oh,
there's any
is it around
depressions
your
that match the
is it around your neck and you're holding it up, or did you take it off and you're holding it
No,
it
I'll
like
keep it on my neck.
Okay. So, like, I guess, like, what do you mean by pressing it as a key? You're gonna try like
Like,
find
see
it
if there's any depressions that match it and turn it.
I'm just you're asking questions about the world, so I'm gonna say this is a hunt roll.
Yeah, I've got security and surprise on
I
layers.
think that's I think any of those would work. So yeah, go ahead and do a hunt too, and let's see what happens.
Oh, bloody thing. What's it not?
Okay. Okay, yeah. Take a token. And you also find something terrible. I think the terrible thing you find is I'm going to say no. You don't see anything that would indicate any kind of depression at all for this thing. It may just be if you're wearing you think probably that just wearing the amulet is going to let you pass through is going to let you step through the gate into somewhere else. And hopefully won't have you fall into a mistreated pit that has the sounds of like moans and shuffling and moans and shuffling and bones.
Well, I'll volunteer to go first.
But the terrible thing you find, is that you glance over your shoulder, and the beast has ripped the head off the scarecrow, swallows it. The scarecrow just kind of like falls limp like a rag doll, and the beast like locks eyes with you and is like scrunching down as if it's going to make a great leap. What do you do?
I say better part of valor, and I leap through the gateway. I've got acrobatics, I'll point out.
Okay, from the perspective of the viewers at home and the other two characters, Blake leaps through the gateway. From your perspective, Blake disappears. I mean, you can see perfectly well through the other side, and Blake goes through, and he does not appear on the other side. He's just gone. Ratung, what do you do?
Yeah, I think I blink away tears from my fallen scarecrow for just a moment, and then I'll follow Neven through the gate.
Okay. Ratung also disappears. Kel, what do you do?
Kel's just kind of like, well, what the hell? Let's do this, and jumps through.
Okay. Yes, and I neglected to do something very important here, and that was tell you what the set goal here is, the necropolis. But you just solved it through role play. The set goal was open the way to the Death Realm, and you have.
Yeah, we go up a level.
You are in the Death Realm. So stepping through the gate. So you step through the gate, and you're not where you used to be. There's still this like big square pit, but it's no longer a pit, it's a moat. It's like this square moat. And there's like this like pinnacle of land that's across the moat. Moat's probably about maybe 30 feet across. You're standing on this like you're standing on this like bronze and stone bridge that leads from the gate. You know, it's just like this arched stone bridge with like bronze. It's got like bronze work that's fit into the stonework. So this bridge just kind of like goes over the moat onto this like kind of like square pinnacle of land that's in the center of what was the pit on the other side. And in the middle of this like pinnacle, there is a ziggurat. It's a tiered pyramid. It's probably about 50. It's probably about like maybe 60, 80 feet tall. It's got a wide stone staircase that goes up halfway. Doesn't go all the way to the top. It goes up halfway, and then there's like bronze doors that are closed. They're not closed. They're partial. They're ajar. It looks like the roof. Looks like the very square top of the ziggurat has been blasted away because there's rubble on the ground around it. And on this side of the gate, you see this. You're like right under this like funnel cloud. It's swirling, and it's very, very, very windy here. It's not like a tornado, but there's like constant winds that are kind of like blowing everything around. One other thing that you notice is it's still cold here, but it's not as cold as it was on the other side. Between where you are and the stair and like the entrance to the ziggurat, there's another one of those conical tents like the rot priests had. And there are two rot priests that were huddling near a little campfire in front of the ziggurat near their tent. And they almost in unison, they like look up and they look at you, and they look in your direction.
How far away are they? Like 50 foot, 500 foot?
Yeah, they're about 50. I'm gonna say they're like, so the bridge is 30 feet across. Yeah, they're probably about like maybe 50, 70 feet away from you. And I'm also going to say that we're at the top of the hour. Let's call a 5-minute break. Come back at I have 3 minutes after. So yeah, let's come back at 10 past. And we're back. Okay. So we are in a new set. This set is the Death Realm. The set goal is to destroy Akun's heart. So here we are. So you're on this bridge.
I'm going to jog towards them and sort of waving like, "Hey, how you going? Have you heard? I'm looking for the swirling court. Can you help me out?" Like I'm a lost tourist or something.
Okay. So what are you trying to do? Is this a distraction? Are you really trying to convince them that you're a lost tourist? You're just trying to get close so that you can like stab them in the back?
I'm trying to convince them, and I'm trying to get close because if things go bad, I need to be close anyway. So.
Okay, so you're basically trying to deceive them into getting close.
Social deception.
Okay, I think that's clearly going to be a risk roll.
I have nothing that can help with this. Apart from a cunning plan. Surprise, maybe.
I was going to say I could see an argument for surprise if you if you want to make an argument.
They're not expecting anyone to come through the portal to say this sort of shit. That's a surprise.
You know, I'm going to say cool. Yeah, I think you get a light die for that. I certainly wasn't expecting it. These guys certainly weren't. So yeah, you get a light die for that. Let's see. I think the risks are obvious. I think
bludgeon me to death with their maces.
I was going to say I think the consequences are obvious that we're going to go immediately into combat. Devil's bargains. Devil's bargains. No matter what, Akun herself makes an appearance.
Playing hardball this session. Wow.
Well, we're at the end game.
No
Anyone
matter
else?
what, somehow that thing that was outside of the gate somehow comes through.
No matter what that beast. Okay, I like that one too. No matter what the beast that was on the other side of the portal comes through, so you're gonna have to deal with that as well.
Go on, Tim, what you got for me?
I was thinking, no matter what, one of the cultists actually has been involved with the swirling court in the past and actually knows what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm going to accept all of them. Because what the hell? Because maybe I misinterpreted it, and this whole thing, this is the swirling court sort of thing. Who knows? But yeah, I'll accept all of them. So risk 2, is it?
You actually are going to accept all of them.
Yeah, bring it on.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, that's going to be a risk 2. Okay. Okay, we've got okay, that is a success with a consequence. And I think the consequence is I don't think we need to add any other consequence because you accepted all those devil's bargains. So I mean, I gotta honestly say, one of the things that I tend to do when we do a risk roll after we've had devil's bargains on the table and you've accepted the devil's bargain, I will often pick one of the devil's bargains you didn't choose as a complication. Not always, but I will often. I'll use that as an inspiration for what the complication is. But since you're already taking all the complications, I don't really think I need to add to the mix. So the priests look at you with this utter look of utter confusion with this look of utter confusion. One raises his mace and the other puts her hand up and says, "The swirling court. What made you think the swirling court would be here?"
And I'll just sort of point to the sky. Isn't it obvious? I've traveled a long way to, meet the swirling court. Is this the right place?
She laughs and says, "Oh, no. This is not the swirling court. You're in the death realm, mortal. The swirling court is a court of rats, and you are very, very far from there, my friend."
I figure this gives them some time to do something or whatever while I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'm going to say, definitely. They're not attacking you on sight. They're engaging you in conversation. Kel, what are you doing?
Well, I've decided to try and be a little more incognito and put that iron demon mask on. So
Okay. You are donning your armor. And Ratung, what are you doing?
I think like as soon as she like laughs at Neven and says like like there's not rats here or whatever, I want to use the mirage ritual to try and like create like this stream of rats like running over the bridge toward them.
Oh, okay.
Just looking to confuse, just like roll with it and try and just confuse them even more. I'm just gonna weird them out as much as possible, and maybe we can. They'll be so flummoxed we can just sneak on by.
Got it. So what's your awesome. I love it. So your goal is to basically use this illusion to like basically scare them off.
Right. They've obviously like heard of the swirling court, so I'm thinking like this guy comes in, starts asking about the swirling court, and then like a bunch of rats just like stream in. Yeah, I'm hoping it'll just scare them away.
Okay, awesome. You clearly know rituals, so you get a light die for this. You must take a dark die because it's a ritual. Devil's bargains. I'm going to give you a devil's bargain, which is you're in the death realm and magic doesn't work exactly the way you'd normally think. So you think you're casting an illusion, but you're actually going to be summoning like a swarm of real rats. So no matter what, no matter what, you're going to be summoning no matter what, your spell is going to summon like real rats.
I think kind of on that same note, and it goes a little awry, and so no matter what, the rats you summon, in my case, I'm thinking still illusionary, are like rather than regular rats, they're massive.
They're giant. You're summoning giant. So my devil's
size.
Got it. So my devil's bargain is that the rats you summon are actually they're like rats, but they're real. Josh's suggestion is that your illusion summons like illusions of giant rats. Blake, you got anything?
No, not at the minute.
Well, I mean,
like
if I was
like
going to say,
those, or?
I do. I was going to ask if I can take a page out of Blake's book and say, why not both? Let's have some real giant rats.
Okay. We can do that. So take another light die. So let's do a risk 2-1. Okay. Okay. Light 6. This spell goes off perfectly, and it has the effect you want.
I have a question about the ruin. If it's higher than my current ruin, so does that mean my ruin goes up?
The high die was a 6, so the dark die doesn't come into play.
Sweet. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, it's only a ruin check if the high die is a dark die. Or ties for high. But yeah, you got a 6. You got a 6 light. So ruin doesn't come into play. Your spell goes off without a hitch. But as per the devil's bargain, what you were expecting were illusionary rats, and the rats are way bigger and they're way more substantial than you were expecting them to be. So with those constraints, otherwise your spell works. So why don't you go ahead and take narrative control and tell us what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like other times I've cast that ritual. I kind of toss some of my dust in the air, maybe some of my alchemical, crushed metals or whatever, and mutter an incantation, and these giant rats kind of spring up. Except I think they're the size of maybe the size of like a small dog, and these kind of keen, almost glowing red eyes and razor sharp teeth, and with squeaky little growls, they just start springing into existence and rushing across the bridge. And I don't know if Neven. I almost think like maybe Neven can like almost direct them if they're real rats, right? So I could turn it to you, Neven, if you want to direct the rats once they spring into existence.
Well, I'll try to, but I'll give Kel a chance to do something.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say whatever you intended the spell to do works. Like if your effect was to like scare these rot priests away, that also totally works. So if you want to say what you think they do, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, I mean, my intent is definitely that they would just kind of charge across, and that the rot priests would just kind of turn tail and run because of the weird rat guy and all his rats that suddenly just showed up. So
yeah, they I'm gonna say they turn tail and they run away from you like toward the ziggurat, and they're like running up into the ziggurat. They did leave their tent. They did leave their tent behind. So there's you basically you've summoned a swarm of giant rats that are milling about.
Neven, I got some friends for you.
And I'm gonna say at this point, like behind you on the bridge, that beast that tore up your scarecrow, like steps through it.
And
it
running
growls.
up the ziggurat. I'm running up the ziggurat.
Kel, what are you doing?
I think like he was pretty weirded out by the giant rats himself, and was just like groaning, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm with these guys." But as soon as that beast shows up, he's like, "Yeah, why don't we just get inside and close this door?"
And Ratung, what are you doing? I mean, the ritual normally summoned illusions, and these aren't illusions. So I'm gonna say that you maybe have a little bit of control over them briefly, but not for long. And then there's just gonna be a swarm of giant rats around here.
I mean, I think I'm just gonna run along with Neven and Kel, and just kind of saying to the rats like, "Come on, my friends, follow the Rat Man. He'll lead us to glory." And we'll just all try and kind of like run along behind Neven.
Okay, so the three of you and your rat swarm enter the ziggurat. So the steps go up. I'm sorry. Let me read the flavor text. Colossal and ice-covered, the black stone ziggurat rises into the air with a whirlwind of furious purple clouds at its top. Sorry about that. Allergy season. Colossal and ice-covered, the black stone ziggurat rises into the air with a whirlwind of furious purple clouds at its top, ever pulling from a point in the alien sky. Stairs ascend the ziggurat into an open archway leading into darkness. So you're running up the stairs and running into the door, running into the open archway.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm thinking.
Okay.
And hopefully we can close the door and block it somehow. Tail's plan anyway.
The hope is the beast will go for those rats, and the rats will go for the rot priests, and we'll just skedaddle away in the background.
Okay. yeah, you enter the ziggurat. The ziggurat's interior is one large open space strewn with black stone rubble. The ceiling has been blasted away, and the whirlwind's cone reaches, and the cone of this whirlwind like reaches down to the floor, to a rotten mouth-like opening in the floor, and this mouth-like opening just seems to suck it in.
I'll look at the other two and say, is that the heart?
I mean, this is like a rotten mouth thing. Warm air that reeks of rot and death is coming up from the maw. Also, on the opposite side of the entrance where you came in, there's stairs that are leading up to what looks like a balcony, which overlooks like in the other direction. Also around the around the maw itself are a total of four rot priests. It's the two that you chased. It's the two that you chased in, plus another two. And they basically all turn to you, and basically get out their maces.
Can I try a ritual?
Absolutely.
Basically, I'm going to try my swarm ritual, which trade favors with a colony of vermin. Fortunately, there's one very close
we've got one
nearby.
right here.
Yeah, so what I'm hoping is basically they'll burst through the door, and I say, feast on them, and everything they have is yours. In other words, their flesh and their bones. Just, hey, fellas, come in, all you can eat. That's
I love it.
all going well.
I love it. Okay. So, do you have a?
I mean, I'm a former rat catcher, so I know rats.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna say, yeah. I'm gonna say, yeah. We've established that you know rats, so I'm gonna give you a light die for that piece of fiction that we've established. So yeah, you know rats. If you're trying to use this ritual to exchange favors with a swarm of, I don't know, like army ants, maybe not so much, but rats, 100%. So take a light die.
The obvious danger being, they're not picky about their eating and they go for me as well. You're muted, Mike. Can't hear your audio, Mike.
Mike, I'm not able to hear you right now. Can others hear Mike?
Nope.
Maybe your that cat of yours unplugged your microphone again.
Check, 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 check. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Just change my audio levels. Okay, here we go. My batteries on my main headset died.
Okay.
This is a pair I normally use for jogging, so I don't know how good the sound quality is. But if you can hear me,
that's all right. Yeah. All right. So I was doing a wrist roll for a ritual, I think.
Yes. Let's see. I think we were. Yes,
we haven't done Devil's Bargains yet.
Right. Okay. Right. We were working on Devil's Bargains. Hold on. I need to change audio. I need to change some audio levels here. There we are. Sorry, volume on the way too high. Okay. Devil's Bargains. I had one just as I lost audio and it just kind of like evaporated from my head.
I've got one in mind. If I can jump in.
Absolutely.
I was thinking. So my devil's bargain is that Ratung would have forgotten to shut the door when he ran in, taking up the rear. And so that will allow that big bony creature. So no matter what, the bone creature is going to end up in here with us too.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Go on, Josh.
No, never mind. That doesn't work. You're not the one with the crown. I don't have anything at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. Actually, that's going to be The only thing that I was going to suggest was one from the previous scene, which hasn't actually made an appearance yet, and that was Akun herself shows up. We are entering her lair.
Yeah, I'm going to accept them all. Bring it on. So risk 2.
It's going to be risk 2-1 because casting a ritual, you must use a dark die.
Oh.
Okay. So, your spell goes off without a hitch, but
my rune goes up.
Your rune goes up. So how does this spell? How is this spell? So your spell works perfectly, and I'm going to let you describe how this what happens. But how does this ritual how does this ritual corrupt your mind or body?
Yep. I'm thinking I'm going, eat them, feast on their bones, my pretties. And he's throwing his hands around, pointing at the rock priests and stuff, that the rats are leaping over the stuff towards them. And then Macoon, or in some manifestation or whatever appearance she has, gazes at me, and she gazes into my soul, sort of thing. So she knows what I know.
I'm going to say, awesome. So awesome. I'll take narration here. So these rats, this swarm of giant rats just like swarms over these 4 rot priests, and they're struggling, but there's not so much you can do against a swarm of rats that are the size of beagles and dachshunds, and I'm guessing there were just dozens and dozens of these that you summoned. So these rot priests are completely struggling with the rats, and while that's going on, a shadow suddenly, you see a shadowy figure like standing silhouetted on that balcony, and slowly descends this staircase. And this is this is a. At first, it looks like a very tall woman. She's like maybe stands like maybe 7 feet tall. She's got like ram's horn. She's got like ram's horns coming off of her head. Like that, those like helical ram's horns. She is wearing she's wearing this like dazzling black robe that is just stitched with like gold like gold sigils all over, similar to the ones that were on the Rot Priest's tents.
Does she look different to Kel or something?
This is 100%. Oh yeah, Kel. This is Akun. You know her. I mean, you've seen her vision. This is her. This is her in the flesh. She's got 2 eyes where you would expect them to be, and she's also got eyes on the side of her head. She's got 1, and she's got 2 on the back of her head as well. They're all red and glowing. And again, from like her sternum down to her abdomen, there's this like vertical rotting mouth with teeth, and and she just kind of like almost casually strolls down as if she was making a dramatic entrance, which she kind of is, and says, "Well, this is interesting. I had not expected mortals to simply walk into my lair. Well, welcome, mortals. Are you here to give yourselves as gifts to me?" And then she looks at Kel and says, yes, Kel, is it not? We meet in person finally.
Yeah, like you can't see it because he's wearing that demon mask, but his face just kind of like drops, like, oh shit, like I'm sure he feels some kind of like tug on him, but he's like trying to resist.
She looks, and her mouth like curls into a cruel smile and says, "Now, normally this is when my servants would start groveling."
I refuse to grovel.
Pity. It's so much fun. Blake, what are you doing?
I'm gesturing towards the rats attacking the priest and saying, "Behold the swirling court. You may kneel before me."
That's not the swirling court. That's the magical rats that your wizardling summoned not too long ago. I mean, I could simply snap my fingers and make them disappear, but that's kind of fun to watch. The rot priests, by the way, several of them are like, the rats have knocked several of the rat priests down, but like at this point, like one of the rot priests is like grabbing one of the rats, and like its mouth and its chest opens, so it's kind of like so it's like deliberately grabbing the rat and is like eating the rat, which makes you think that maybe getting these things in a wrestling one of the rot priests is probably a bad idea. Ratung, what are you doing?
So I think when Akun makes the statement about like, oh, my servants would normally be groveling, I will actually like drop to my knees, prostrate, and I'll be like, oh, mighty Akun, harbinger of death. But as I'm doing that, and I'll kind of explain what I'm trying to accomplish here. So like as I'm like groveling, I'm gonna try and like inch closer to her, And then when I'm very close, I want to like pull out the crown and put it on my head and then like look at her from like as near as I can be.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm just gonna flat out tell you for every round that you wear the crown, her endurance goes down by 1. So if you are engaging her in combat, the longer you wear that crown, the easier she is going to be to defeat in combat. But you need to make a ruin roll every round you're wearing this thing. So that's basically how this thing affects. And she has already been partially wounded by it from that first time you put it on. So her her endurance has already gone down by 1, and then it goes back up for every day that someone doesn't wear the crown.
So it's gone from 30 to 29 now. Or?
I mean, I'll just tell you, it went from 13 to 12. So yes, yes, she is powerful enough that unless you are able to exploit a weakness, she is impossible to defeat in combat.
Just where we did that then.
But she is now, at the moment at least, she is defeatable in combat.
What I'm hoping to do is to kind of engage her with this so that maybe someone can look for the heart. I don't know. That's sort of what I was thinking, but you guys decide what you want to do.
So I am just going to say one thing about that maw that was in the floor. I'm going to say now you can actually see there's, it's like really, really big. It's like sucking this whirlwind in, but it's long. This thing is like maybe 20 feet long, and it would certainly be possible to like step into the maw. It looks like there's something like a tongue that's going down into its gullet. That does actually seem to be the only other way out of here, other than the balcony.
So, if I remember correctly, Sarkun mentioned that the heart was at like the lowest level of the ziggurat. And so what I'm gonna,
and I'm also going to say that you can spend 3 tokens to solve the set.
Yeah. So what I was kind of thinking, which I don't mind spending tokens for this. I mean, I've got like 4 or 5, but one of my rituals is burrow, which lets me move through the ground. And I was thinking, use that to try and get to the lowest level quickly to try and find the heart, while at least while there's the distraction.
Okay. You can I think that's most interesting. Why don't we do that first? So if you're going to cast a ritual, my first question is, do you have an appropriate skill to cast the ritual? I'm looking at your list and I'm thinking that's a no. So I don't think I can give you a light die for having a skill. None of those seem like magic. None of those seem like magically skills, and I don't see a skill that would. I mean, if you had like mining as a skill, I might say that would apply to a burrow ritual, but
yeah, I mean, yeah. I can see trying to make an argument for maintenance being a thing. Like, I might understand how a place like this was constructed, but other than that, I don't really see a possibility.
Yeah, I don't really see an appropriate skill here, so I can't give you the light die for having the skill.
Well, what about a rope? Like, you've got rope and grappling hook, just kind of parasails down, repels down really quickly and does it at close range or something.
Well, I mean, I suppose like if you're using it to like excavate a hole, that might work. But like enacting the magic, I'm not sure how that's really going to help with casting the spell. Which means you can still get a light die from a devil's bargain. Before we get that far, what are you afraid might happen if the ritual doesn't go according to plan?
I think, the two things that Kel's most worried about is if Akun has some kind of influence over him, or possibly just if the spell goes wrong, he might just get stuck in the ground.
Those were two things that I was more or less thinking of as well. Either she realizes what you're trying to do and she stops it and just cancels your spell because she's a demon, she can do that sort of thing. Or your spell creates a pit immediately under you and you fall. Something like that. I think something like that is appropriate. So Devil's Bargains. I'm going to say, well, we haven't used it because it's in the scene. A previous Devil's Bargain was that this horn beast, that like the horn and bone beast, that's been chasing you from the land of the living, entered the scene with the last action. I'm going to say a Devil's Bargain is no matter what that horn beast is going to, I think that horn beast is going to attack somebody no matter what. And since you're the one who's doing the spell, I think that beast is going to attack you.
I'm going to say, no matter what you take, because you're like a servant of it, you've got this empathic link or something. You're going to take on some of that, the goal of oblivion and entropy and that. So you're going to, regardless of what happens in this fight, you're going to start her goal. You're going to become the new priest for that sort of entropy thing.
You are chosen as the new head priest. Ooh, that's pretty good. Tim, do you have anything to offer?
Yeah, I was just thinking, no matter what, sort of creating some kind of passage through the rock of the ziggurat sort of begins the process of destabilizing the structure.
That's cool too.
I think I'll take that one since I've had this destruction thing going on since the beginning.
Got it. So no matter what the spell is, going to cause, it's going to cause the eventual. It's going to be the scene in a James Bond movie where the base is starting to blow up but people are still inside.
Exactly. Got to do the awesome slow motion run to get out.
Running away as the thing explodes behind you.
And nearly get hit by stuff,
Okay. So, you're going to get a light die from the Devil's Bargain, and you must use a dark die because you're casting a ritual. So why don't you do a risk 1/1?
Oof.
Okay. So, it's not higher than your ruin, so your ruin does not go up. But this spell does not succeed. The high die is a dark die, so you can't re-roll. So we have to live with the failed ritual. I'm going to say that you cast the spell, and the spell burrows burrows a hole straight down, maybe 20 or 30 feet, right under where you were standing. And I'm gonna say only 20 feet. And you fall 20 feet into a pit that you just created. Thud. I'm going to give you one other piece of interesting information, is that the rock that you burrowed into is not rock. It's like fleshy material. And it's like pulsating, and when you did this, it's literally bleeding. The walls are bleeding because they're made of living meat. Yeah, so you're down there, and at the same time, this seems to have caused this living material quite a lot of pain, because it's now like quivering, and everyone up above the floor begins to shake, and Akun just kind of like shakes her head. Mortals, you're always playing with forces you just don't understand. This is why the world deserves to end. And now I will put you all out of misery. So yeah, the floor is shaking, and she says, and I've almost accumulated the arcane energy I need to transcend this prison that has held me for 10,000 years. Soon the world shall know the name of Akun the Destroyer. Ratung, what are you doing?
Yeah, so at this point, I think maybe this is the point where I've been like groveling, trying to get her attention, and then this is the point where I try and, if I feel like I've gotten as close to her as I can, that I try and kind of leap up and put the crown on.
Awesome. Looking at the time, it is just about the top of the hour. I think this is a good moment to cut to commercial and take a 5-minute break. Why don't we come back at let's take a 7-minute break. Let's come back at 5 minutes after the hour, and I think we'll hopefully bring this incursion to a conclusion. So see you in about 7 minutes. And we're back. Okay. So just this one little housekeeping thing. Kel, I'm going to give a hopefully temporary condition of stuck in a pit. And while the others were off camera, I realized that, Blake's antler hat certainly counts as a piece of armor, so we can put that there if he wants, which he did. And we were at the point where Ratung put on the spiral crown. She put on the spiral crown, and it's like the energy from that. It's like that energy that it absorbed from the spiral chapel is still there. You put it on, and it immediately starts crackling with energy, and it can tell that the crown can just tell that its enemy is here, and and everyone else sees that like rays kind of like come down from this alien sky, like through the walls of the ziggurat. I'm sorry, like from the like blasted open roof of the ziggurat, these like rays of energy come down from the sky into the crown on Ratung's head, and it's now crackling with electricity. And from like the center of it, like from where the crown is, like in the center of his forehead, a beam just shoots right at Akun, who like shrieks in pain. So Ratung, I'm going to ask you to make a ruin roll. Okay, your ruin stays where it is. The cosmic power of the spiral crown is taxing, but it isn't burning you out yet. Make a note of Akun's new endurance. So yeah, she screams in pain and makes a step towards you to basically smite you. Ratung, I think you are actually in combat with the demon Akun at this point. Does anyone else wish to join the combat?
I mean, it's very tempting to say no, but yeah, I think because in Neven's little head, he's offended that this upstart has said some hurtful and demeaning words about the swirling court, so he's going to try and take her on and bash her with a mace.
Fantastic. Okay, Ratung, what are you doing? You feel the cosmic power like flowing through you, but you're wondering how much of you is being eroded by this. And the demon Akun is before you and seems to not like the state of affairs very much. What are you doing?
I think like if she's starting she like screams in pain and is starting to make towards me, I think then I would just pull out my staff and just try and just kind of jab it at her to kind of just keep her away from me.
Okay. Okay, so it sounds like Neven and Ratung are in combat with the demon Akun. While that's going on, Kel, you're in the bottom of you're like 20 feet down a pit of you're like 20 feet down a bleeding flesh pit. So I think before we do combat, I'm just going to say like what are you doing, and then we'll hop back into the combat.
So Kel's intention is still to try and search for the heart while they're fighting / distracting. So first thing he's got to do is get the hell out of this pit. So he's trying to climb out if that's the way he needs to go, or if that doesn't work, he might try burrowing again. But right now he's going
for climbing out. I'm gonna say climbing out is probably the best thing to do here. I think for fictional reasons, you've got the right equipment. No one's really trying to stop you per se. So between your grappling hook and line, I'm just going to say that you're going to get out of the pit after the first round of combat against the demon Akun. So let's do combat. Neven, how are you? So what are you doing to engage the demon Akun in combat, and how are you vulnerable to her attacks?
I think during our travels, I've been talking to Ratung about alchemy and stuff, so I'm going to try and mash my glass marbles, pot of tar, and torches together to have like a napalm thing to chuck at her.
Okay.
And the danger, of course, being I might set my own ass on fire.
Okay. So you're going to attack her with basically a makeshift
Molotov.
You're going to attack her with an IED. Got it. Making an improvised explosive device. There we go. Okay, Ratung, how are you attacking? I think you said you were attacking her with your staff by mainly trying to fend her off. And how are you vulnerable to her attacks?
I think I'm vulnerable. I'm vulnerable because wearing the crown, as you pointed out, it's draining toward me, and so I think it kind of just makes me. I'm attacking her, but I'm feeble, and maybe all my strength is just in kind of staying upright, and I won't be able to defend myself very well.
Okay, love it. Why don't you each please roll a weak point? Okay, so we got 2 and 4, and I guess we are in combat. So this is the first round of combat. We have 2 combatants, so someone should roll. Ratung, I think I'll let you take the honors because she's focusing her attack on you. So I want to do a combat 2, since there are 2 of you. Ooh, so close. That is insufficient to. So a 10 is unfortunately insufficient at this time to defeat the Demon Akun. If you would, if either of you would like to, basically say, if either of you would like to, but at the same time, neither of you were affected by her attacks. So if you want to kind of describe, describe your attack and how it was ineffective.
I think I'll make my makeshift Molotov, chuck it, and it just sort of passes through her because she's kind of phasing in and out or something, and just nothing happens. Like, oh, bummer.
Or blows. Do you want it to blow up behind her, or do you want it to be sitting on the floor so you can conceivably go over and get it and throw it at her again?
Yeah, that sounds dangerous. I'll go with that one.
I'm going to pick up the burning bomb and throw it again. What could possibly go wrong? I am partially deaf in my right ear because when I was 12, I was playing with firecrackers, and I thought one was a dud, so I picked it up and went to throw it again. And you don't wind up to throw a firecracker; you just flick it, because when I wound up, it exploded basically right here. Anyway.
That's not so bad. I had a teacher in high school that talked about he and his friends would go into his grandfather's warehouse and shoot Roman candles and bottle rockets and stuff at each other.
Yeah, we won't talk about the time that my friends of mine and I ran around the woods behind our house with like BB pistols, and we're shooting BB guns at each other.
All right, I have to tell you.
Anyway, it was the 80s.
I can tell you my stupid high school thing is that my friends and I liked to get a bunch of rags, tie them up into a big knotted ball, soak it in gasoline, light it on fire, and then play a literal hot potato game with it, where you've got to throw it back and forth, except that you'll actually get burned if you don't throw it fast enough. So yeah, that was smart.
Well, it sounds like nobody caught themselves on fire, so I guess that's survivor's bias. Hey, we didn't die, so it wasn't that dangerous after all, was it? Okay. So I guess we are now in round 2 of the combat. Kel, you are now outside. You've climbed yourself out of the pit. The Demon Akun, who is, incredibly compelling, is there. I guess the question is, are you going to succumb to your being a servant of, I think I got a possibly special move for that. Let's do round 2 of combat first. So Neven and Ratung, are you basically going to do the same thing you did previous round?
Yeah, I'm going to make a dive for this non-exploded bomb thing and chuck it from the floor, and it'll be fine.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, this is an additional round of combat. So, Blake, why don't you roll a combat 3? Also ineffective. Oh, the other thing, I forgot. Before this, Ratung, you are still wearing the crown. Did you? So you did. I assume you did not take it off. You are still wearing it.
Right. Yeah, I'm still wearing it. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, it's not going to affect this roll because the combat roll was not particularly good. At the same time, it hit nobody's weak point again, which is awesome. But please make another ruin roll because you're still wearing the crown.
Okay. I should be okay because I'm at 4.
You're at 4, so. Yep.
It's the good thing about having high ruin. It's less likely to go up. So I'm sure that's a design feature of the game. I'm sure.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Where you'll, at least with dark, you regularly will hover at 5 ruin for a while. You don't have the ruin roll usually in gold. This is the special crown. This is actually the special crown roll. So you ward again. The beam. The beam continues to hit the demon Akun. And it clearly appears to be weakening her in some manner, mystically. You continue to fight, but I'm going to say she is able to. I'm going to say at this point, Neven, you throw the bomb at her, and she actually grabs the bomb like out of the air and just like with her left hand, she grabs the bomb and just kind of like throws it away. It bounces on the ground a couple of times and it like lands on one. It lands on one of the rot priests that's still struggling with one of the rats, and it blows. And it, I'm gonna say why not? It blows up one of her own rot priests and the rats it was fighting. just because I think that would be cool. And Ratung, I think that you're just plain, wearing the crown is taxing, and you're not able to get a particularly vigorous blow against her. So Cal, so while this fight is going on, I'm going to say the demon Akun looks right at you, and you feel her gaze. Just kind of like burn into your mind and into your soul, and she is attempting to mentally compel you to basically drop. She's trying to compel you to like lay down your weapons and lay down your weapons and worship her. Like get on your knees. Are you going to attempt to resist this compulsion?
Yeah, I think Kel's still trying to resist her as much as he can and focusing on his god and whatnot.
Okay. So I think this is going to be a risk roll for you to remain in control here. And I think this is a situation where I'm going to require that you use a dark die. And you're at 5 ruin, so I'm going to say that if you go to 6 ruin, I would say this is probably a situation where you more or less become a GM character. Although if you want to I would say keep playing, but you're on Team Akun now.
Sounds good.
Do you have a skill or a piece of equipment that could help you? I'm actually seeing one that I could see an argument for.
What did that mummified head thing do again? Just told you who your enemy
was. The mummified head. Yeah, that was. Hold on, I got the notes for that. I think that would tell you of your. I think that could tell you of your doom. Yeah, like once a day you could ask it like who wishes me dead, and it will tell you. So it's not terribly useful in this situation, I think. If you want me to just tell you, I could see an argument that you could conceivably try to use your intimidation skill to, to resist this control.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Was the only other thing I saw that might have any influence is just that's kind of my own will coming into it, trying to dominate back towards her or something.
That's pretty much what I was thinking. So yeah, I'll give you a light die for that. So we've got a light die and a dark die because this is definitely risking your body and soul here. Devil's bargains. No matter what, Akun's magic, because she's like trying to impose her will on you. No matter what, Akun's magic causes basically a magical stigmata to appear on your body, which is basically her like unholy sigil, appears as almost like a scar on your body somewhere visible. Somewhere visible that's going to be a little hard to hide, maybe the back of your hand or like on your neck. If you really want to go for it, middle of your forehead, but that might be a little over. That's a little too on the nose. And no, not on the tip of your nose, because that's just dumb.
I was literally about to say that.
So that's the devil's bargain I'm offering.
No matter what, the sort of battle of wills and psychic energy kind of welds the demon mask to your face.
Never take the mask off. That's awesome.
All right, Tim, you got to beat that one.
No matter what, the connection between you and Akun becomes strong enough that if Akun is destroyed, it will, I don't know, something will happen to you when she's destroyed.
I want to pull a Blake here and say, give me all three. I'm thinking with instead of the mark appearing on my skin or something, it appears on that. It becomes part of that mask.
Oh, it becomes part. It's on the mat. It becomes. It's emblazoned on. It becomes emblazoned on I think in this case, maybe the forehead of the mask, but the mask is now well melded to your face. You can't take it off.
Exactly.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so that's going to happen regardless. So let's do the roll. So it's going to be a risk 2-1.
All right.
Okay, you resist, and I think the fact that you're accepting all of those complications as devil's bargains, I think that's complication enough.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to add any more to that. But yeah, you resist Akun's compulsion to drop your weapons and grovel at her feet. So while the combat is going on, what else did you want to do? You were going to look for the heart.
Yeah.
And again, you were told it was below, and the only way down you see is in that open rotting mouth.
Right. And I was going to say, I want to go ahead and spend the 3 tokens to actually find it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of picturing, since that looked like the only way down, Kel kind of looks into it and he's just like, I really hope this is not going to just eat me, and just jumps.
Okay, fantastic. So you're spending the 3 tokens?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and spend those 3 tokens.
Yeah, I already took them off.
Okay. Oh, right. I was looking at your ruin line, not your tokens line. Okay. So while the battle continues upstairs, Kel still, still reeling somewhat from the Battle of Wills that he only just won. So you walk into this rotting mouth, and the air is foul down here. It stinks of rot and death.
That doesn't surprise me.
But it's warm down here. Very humid down here. You're walking on this. It's firm but somewhat pliable. It almost feels like you're walking on a firm mattress. The floor has a little bit of give to it, because it almost looks like you're walking on a and the walls are fleshy, kind of like as you saw when you dug that magical pit into the place. It does feel like you're walking down a gullet. And ahead of you, you hear a distant lub dub, lub dub, lub dub, and the walls pulsate just ever so slightly in time with that beating.
Lovely. Perfect place for vacation.
Yeah. So you go about, actually not very far. You only go down. You go about 30 feet down this tunnel, and it's dark down here. But I'm just going to assume you've got a torch of some sort.
Yeah. If not, I can just pull one out of my equipment.
Yeah, you go about 30 feet down, and this isn't cave. Definitely feels organic. It doesn't feel like it was constructed. Growing out of the wall is a heart. It's big. It's like almost, it's like the size of a football. But it's growing out of the wall, and it's got the vesicles that go, like vesicles come out of the wall into it, and it's black and it's like dripping with mucus, and it's pulsing. But that is the heart of a coon. It's the heart of a coon. It's where Sarku told you it was going to be, and your connection with your connection with a coon. She knows you're there, and she is suddenly terrified. This is narration phase. So yeah, what's your weapon?
Hammer.
You take your hammer and you just beat this thing. And it's really only like three or four. It's like 3 or 4 hits, and it's over. You just bash that heart. At one point your slice cuts the vessels that were going into it, and this black blood kind of spurts everywhere, and the heart starts quivering, basically goes into a defibrillation, and it just stops, and it crystallizes, and it turns into this black. It turns into this blood red gem that's the size of a football, but it looks like it's still trying to pulse even as it's a gem, and then it explodes, sending chunks of this gem kind of all over the floor. You think those might be kind of valuable. Meanwhile, battle up above, between Ratung's crown that is definitely hurting her. At one point she like turns away from the fight and looks at the mouth and says, "No, no!" And it looks like she starts to try to use her magic to teleport. And the way her teleport works is like another mouth kind of like starts to open beneath her feet. But as she starts to descend into this, she like raises her arms and says, "No, no!" And then she just kind of crumbles to dust. And at that, the temple really starts to shake, and you feel this especially in the gullet, Kel. If you want to take a moment to try to gather up some of those pieces of the broken heart, you certainly can do that. But this is shaking. You're not sure how much longer this gullet's going to stay passable.
How about I use my other 2 tokens to pick them up?
Okay. I was going to say, if you wanted to, if you want to do that, I was going to say, if you wanted to like try to grab them, I'd say, but then get out in time. I was going to say, if you want to try to, I was going to say that's kind of a hunt roll. And if you succeed, I'm going to say you get a particular named treasure.
All right. I mean, either way works for me.
Yeah. Why don't we do it that way? Because, not sure how much treasure you have, but why don't we do it that way? Why don't we call this a hunt roll? And I'm going to say that you've got a piece of equipment. You got a torch, because these things aren't really hidden. So between that, I'll let you do a hunt too.
Okay.
Just having light gear is pretty much all you're really going to need.
Encounter something terrible.
Okay. I'm going to say that because they were right there, I'm going to say you were able to grab a chunk of the. I'm going to let you grab a chunk of the heart that is worth. I'm going to say it's worth 2 gold. That's basically half of the named treasure that was just right there. But the thing that the terrible thing that you are encountering is that the the mouth that was that's the other thing. With the death of a coon, there also seems to be some kind of like negative feedback with that ritual cone of energy that was flowing in, because with the death of a coon, all the energy that she had accumulated is now kind of like flowing out at a much faster rate than it had been coming in. So I'm going to say the mouth of that rotting mouth is like starting to close, as like everything is like this ziggurat seems to be built on top of like some kind of like massive living or undead creature, and that undead creature is now dying, and it's like convulsing, so it's like snapping the mouth shut. So I think it's going to be a risk roll for you to try to get past this.
All right.
You know what? I'm going to belay that. I don't think we need to roll here. I think we're just going to go to narration, especially considering we're running out of time. Yeah, I don't think we need to roll here. You have defeated the demon of Coon, but you're in her temple, which is starting to shake itself apart. So what is your plan?
We'll help Kel out of the pit, the tunnel thing, and then get the hell out of there.
Yeah, why don't you go? Why don't you each of you describe like how you're getting out of the temple and the danger that happens that you just barely avoid.
Yeah, I think when I'm trying to help Kel up. The mouse is trying to nom on me, so I've got some bruises and cuts and scars. But just keep the mouth open so he can get up, and then I just run like hell to get out of there.
Awesome. Ratung, same question to you.
I think so. While Neven is helping Kel out, I think Ratung is just like entranced by the room now that sort of that immediate danger of a coon has passed. Just kind of staring in wonderment at just the construction of the place and the way that the mouth opens in the floor.
Oh, and by the way, once a coon is dead, apparently the purpose of the crown is no more, and the energy that was channeling through you dissipates.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'm not going to have you like make any more rolls, and it doesn't really have a purpose other than it's worth a lot of money.
Nice. So I think as I'm just sort of like looking in wonderment at my surroundings, sort of this big glob of like this big like 100-pound glob of flesh like kind of falls from the ceiling and maybe just almost lands right on me. It kind of just whoosh right next to me, and it kind of snaps me out of my my moment of back to the task at hand, which is getting Kel and getting out. So
got it. And Kel, same question to you.
Yeah, I think once Neven helps get me out, as we're trying to get out of here, as everything's gonna go into hell. That beast or whatever had followed us in, and I think that's kind of blocking our way or whatever. And Kel basically ends up just kind of shoving his hammer in its mouth and tossing it, and he loses his hammer because of that.
Okay. Yeah, you get over the bridge. You get you go past back through the gate, and you're back in the land of the living in the depression where you were before, near the necropolis. And that whirlwind is mostly like in the real world. That whirlwind is mostly pretty much kind of like dissipating now. It's just kind of like.
I thought you were going to say the gateway and the amulets go by a coon's power, so we can't go through. We're stuck in the death realm now.
I do want to know, like, what's the effect on Kel now that Akun's dead? Since we said that it would somehow affect him.
Yeah, you can go ahead and anyone who had an Akun related condition can clear it. Not that it really matters, because this is basically going to be I'm not planning a follow-up adventure on this one, but you can clear Servant of Akun. You can clear Akun is aware of you, because Akun is now dead. I think I think the lasting effect is pretty much just going to be the fact that you have you have an Akun demon mask that is now melded to your face that has the unholy symbol of Akun like branded in the middle of the forehead, and you cannot take this mask off.
Yeah. Probably going to make it really hard for people to trust me on trying to repair the temple.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like even like would his god like forsake him now, since he like wears this mark of another.
That's true. That could very well be. Very well be. But yeah, this is the end of the incursion. I guess we can say that from here, maybe you encounter a few more trials, but eventually you make it back to town. I'm looking at the time. I'd ideally like to do a Hearthfire round, but I don't think 20 minutes is really going to be enough to do that justice. So, as much as I like the Hearthfire rules, I just don't think we really have time to engage with them tonight. Plus my voice is starting to run out of steam. So that was Trophy Gold, the Death Ziggurat. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a fun. I thought this was a lot of fun. I thought we had a lot of great character moments. Josh, I really liked how you were playing the the torn between being being semi-controlled by a coon, and your enthusiasm to try to get to the heart of the matter. Ratung, Tim, like Ratung being Ratung is just a joy to play with. That as always, that was fun. And Blake, the like bringing the swirling court into this, I thought was just fantastic. I thought that was really a lot of fun. That kind of threw me for a loop, and I thought it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Kill's sort of struggle with not wanting to sort of betray the party and keep fighting in that because, you know, weaker people like Neven and Ratung probably would have given up and just said, yeah, well, we'll work for you now. So that was cool. You kept sort of struggling with it. I like the irony that sort of this expelled apprentice Ratung ended up with one of the most powerful artifacts on the planet. That was a nice twist. That, hang on, our fates are in this guy's hands. So that was a cool story element. And good. You can see how this is a very sort of dark fantasy metal. I kept envisioning Iron Maiden covers while we're going through this adventure because it's just like, yeah, this shit could easily get a lot darker. But and that's not a complaint. That was cool. That was good.
This was a Mork Borg adventure. So it was you know, Scandinavian death metal inspired. Absolutely. I think Trophy Gold handles the setting really well. I think I'm going to be playing. I think I'm going to be playing with Trophy Gold with more and more Borg adventures.
Yeah. It's good fun. I was half expecting to die fighting that thing, or I was going to say, you know, if Josh wants to have his character kill mine in service of his new god, go for it. You know, whatever makes a good story. But I came up pretty good out of that adventure.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I was like, oh man, like do I go over or what? And so I was like, you know what? He's devoted to trying to, you know, rebuild the temple or whatever. So it's like, you know, Kel's, you know, trying to keep his mind on that god or whatever to help him. So but it was fun, and I loved y'all's characters and the craziness. Biggest thing I'm missing is I want to know what the hell all those teeth were about. The ones that.
The other player with all the teeth.
I was really sad. I was like,
I was sad he wasn't able to join us tonight. I never heard from him, but that would have been fun.
Yeah, I love the Morkborg, just the whole aesthetic behind it. I've been a big fan of it since I first learned of it. It was really cool to be able to play in that world, so that was amazing. I really liked. I think we had some great spots where we were able to kind of cut between characters, especially like when we were separated in the ziggurat. I always think that's really fun when you have like two things going on at once and you're kind of cutting back and forth and seeing how they resolved. And I love that we were in a situation where there was real peril to the characters. Like we could have easily, none of us made it out of there alive, right? I mean, and so it was, I love that situation of like, it's down to a few die rolls. One or more of us could either, you know, be killed / become irrevocably possessed by a demon lord, you know, and that. So I liked the tension of that, where like there's like high stakes die rolls going on. I think that makes it a lot of fun.
One thing I absolutely love about the Trophy Gold is how it really has a lot of press your luck mechanics. You know, the combat roll is very much press your luck mechanic. As you go on, your chances of defeating as rounds go on, your chances of defeating the monster go up, but also your chances of like getting way more damage goes up. And also, you know, the risk roll is really risky. Casting magic is dangerous.
Yeah, Kel's not so good at casting magic.
And that is by design. Jesse Ross has gone on record as saying that, like part of the reason that, I mean, So trophy doesn't have character classes, so you don't necessarily have you don't have like magic users and sorcerers and warlocks and whatnot. And everyone can use magic, but magic is dangerous. So unless you actually have a magical background, your chances of using magic and succeeding are relatively low. So Ratung with the sorcerer background and just knowing rituals means that you're always going to have a light die whenever you cast a spell, and that's kind of unusual. All right. Any other comments?
I was just gonna say, just kind of on the magic point. I mean, I love that like your description of your ritual is like just this very short description. Just compared to like other like more rules heavy RPGs where you know exactly every time you cast it precisely what's going to happen, right? And for how many rounds and so on. I like the idea that the rituals can be extremely powerful, right? Because you can kind of use them to try and accomplish whatever you want, but at the same time they're extremely risky. I just think that's just really cool. I love that.
Yeah, I really do love the freeform magic system. It just gives you enough guidelines to like do cool shit with. That's one thing I love about a lot of these rules like games where it gives the players and the GM quite a lot of narrative control. Is you're not constrained by you're not constrained by all of these like constitutional rules. Like a game like D&D, unless the rules say you can, then you can't. You can ad hoc something, but when you ad hoc something, it's never going to be as good as the rule that would cover that. Whereas in like a game like this, it's much more freeform. Like, you don't have as many guidelines, and depending on the kind of player, they could try to they could try to be they could try to like abuse it or push things or whatnot. At least here on the Gauntlet, that's not our play culture. And I know Jason Cordova has said a few times, system matters, but table culture matters more. And I think so. A game like Trophy that really tries to bake in a fair amount of Gauntlet play culture, like right into the rules, I think is pretty cool. It's kind of like it expands kind of a mindset on what RPGs can be, and I think a session like this is just fantastic. I think the three of us and the other people who had been part of this story that weren't able to be here tonight, I think we told a really cool story. I would 100% watch this movie or read the graphic novel.
Yeah, I think the magic kind of reminds me of the Mage playbook for Dungeon World, where it's just like it's a very general like this is the kind of stuff you can control. Because I remember one time playing and I chose like the Time Mage or whatever, and we were playing oh gosh, I can't remember. It's one where you go into this like tomb or whatever, and there's like crystal skulls that are falling that like they're your countdown clock basically. And my character was trying to search the library and find information on what to stop whatever's going on, and I ended up getting my roll to go very well, and my goal was to try and like stop time to give me time to look. And David Lafreniere was from the Dungeon World podcast, he was the GM, and he was like, well, it works. I mean, basically it was like in the end I could have just like dragged everyone out and left the spell, and that would have solved everything because it stopped the countdown clock.
Got it.
Of course, I didn't realize I broke the spell.
Yeah, there's that. Okay, well, thanks everyone. This is a blast. I think this has been one of my favorite. This has probably been my favorite series I've run on the Gauntlet thus far. This is just I just had a ball on this one. It was great to see some characters. It was great to see some characters who've been who've been playing a series for a while, and it was great how we incorporated new characters. And yeah, I think this is just really a blast. And thank you all for playing. I really had a ball.
And it was a lot of fun. Thanks for including me.
Before we quit, before I end the session, I am recording this. Is it okay if I post it? Would you like to review it first? Okay to post. Awesome. Okay. I'll post it. I'll try to get it in before the video roundup, which usually is usually Friday morning. So I'll try to compile it overnight. And thank you, folks. This was a blast.
It was good fun.
I really hope I get to game with all of you at some point in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, folks. Have a good night or morning.